Hello and welcome all you EOS fans. In today's episode of EOS Mega Update 19, I'm going to share with you topics such as crypto prices, dApps migrating to EOS, Tapatalk, a company with 300 million users moving to EOS, mainstream artist Juicy J puts EOS in his music video with over 3 million views, ENFEOS, a new tool to test EOS Smart Contracts, pEOS, privacy on EOS. That might be called pEOS, I'm not sure. Comparing trading volumes, MEET.ONE sidechain. Brendan Blumer talks about new EOS IO wallet, a visual showing how REX works, a positive story of 100,000 EOS returned to the owner, and Epic Games CEO shows his support for EOS. Lastly, we'll talk about Huobi freezing over 2 million EOS. Thanks for joining me, guys. Alright, and a great place to start is with prices. So I like to change it up. I'm using Coin Paprika today. Sometimes I use Coin Market Cap. And as you know, the price of EOS and all coins shot up quite a bit in the past week. EOS hit a high of $4.30. EOS currently stands at $3.66 after the correction. It actually looks more like a dump. You can see on the graph here that it was a gradual climb. All these coins gradually climbed over the past week and then a rapid and sudden dump back down. Now, the positive side of this is that there was a couple coins that really stood out above the rest. As you can see right now, a lot of coins are in the red, but a couple such as EOS, Maker, Binance Coin, that's really about it, Stellar, are in the green and quite a bit. So EOS and Maker have done the best in this recent price surge. Now, just to step back and take a look at what I feel is happening here, we're just seeing volatility and fluctuations as we move sideways. As much as I want to see us shooting up to the moon right now, guys, I don't see it happening. I think we are going to see sideways movement for a while to come. And as I said in previous videos, I expect for more or less the remainder of 2019 to be a relatively sideways motion on price. So we will see some surges and we will see some dips, but I don't expect to make any tremendous movements like $100 EOS. I do not see happening in 2019. I do see $100 EOS happening in the years to come. So that's just how I'm looking at it right now. EOS is doing very well. It's outperforming Ethereum. It's outperforming Bitcoin. It's outperforming Litecoin. It's outperforming Bitcoin Cash. It's outperforming Stellar, Tron, Binance, Cardano, Monero, IOTA, and Dash. So I'd say EOS is doing pretty well on the price front. Now, why is it doing well on the price front? That could be because a lot of apps are moving to EOS. So let's take a look at this. First of all, we have Effect.AI. It says Effect.AI is moving from Neo to EOS. And it was basically Neo's most used dApp. It's now migrating to the EOS blockchain. And this will happen in late April of 2019. So why did Effect.AI move? Well, they cited disappointment in the performance of the Neo technology and concerns about the lack of direction of Neo's future. And that brings to mind the recent thing with Binance, where the creator of Neo essentially has not been super active in developing Neo, but they've actually been developing things for Binance instead. So there's a bit of question as to the devotion of the creator of Neo. At least that's what I've gathered from the stories. Correct me if I have any of that wrong, but that could be what is the lack of direction of Neo's future. And it says, after exploring several other technologies, Effect.AI has selected the EOS blockchain as their first choice. So part of the reason was because Neo promised free transactions and high transactions per second, but Neo currently has 14 to 22 TPS, and it hasn't increased beyond that. So it's kind of hard to create a scalable dApp that's supposed to reach tons of users with a mere 14 to 22 transactions per second. And that's very similar and in the ballpark of Ethereum. So it looks like currently Neo is following the same fate that Ethereum's following, with a failure to scale quickly enough. And we shall see how that develops. But right now, EOS is light years ahead of that in terms of scalability. Also, it looks like Neo announced an update of the blockchain that will reboot it from the Genesis block. So it looks like some uncertainty surrounding Neo. So I don't blame them whatsoever for moving to a very stable, proven, fast platform such as EOS, which is innovating at such a rapid speed. Now, Effect.AI is not the only dApp moving to EOS. Let's take a look. And this site is really awesome. It shows you a lot of dApps apparently have been moving or are moving to EOS. So these first two here are the potential candidates rumored to move to EOS. It hasn't been proven yet. So those are Power Ledger and Civic may move to EOS. Now the ones that are moving to EOS, like we just said, is Effect.AI. That is going to move to EOS. We have Wax from Ethereum moving to EOS. Actually, I didn't know that Wax was originally on Ethereum, but hey, there you go. And this is the matrix they used when deciding what they were going to pick for their platform. And as you can see, they looked at candidates such as Neo, Arc, EOS, Tendermint, Lisk, and Nem, and they went with EOS in the end. Another one that's moving over, Tixico, migrating from Ethereum to EOS. Unico, migrating from Ethereum to EOS. Metapedia, Ethereum to EOS. SenseChat, moved from Ethereum to EOS. We covered that in the last video. Billionaire Token, moved from Ethereum to EOS. EOS Bet, moved from Ethereum to EOS. Distributed Alliance Platform, Hoku, moved from Ethereum to EOS. Everipedia chose EOS over Ethereum, so I guess they had been considering Ethereum. Insights Network actively chose EOS over Ethereum, and Tapatalk, which we will get into later in this video, has over 300 million users, has chosen EOS for using their gold reward system on EOS now. So as you can see, this might be a good reason why the value of EOS is climbing higher relative to other coins, because platforms and dApps are moving to EOS, and for good reason. All right, and so now back to Tapatalk. What is it? Tapatalk is a mobile app for forum owners and their members and is used by over 200,000 forums in 186 countries. So they already have an existing user base. This is not some new platform, some new app that is trying to get grassroots traction. It already exists and it's already being used widely by over 300 million people across the world. It's in the range of Twitter and Reddit. That's why Tapatalk is a big deal. So what are they doing? Well, they introduced gold points to Tapatalk groups in 2017 to support forum administrators and moderators in growing their communities. It's a rewards point system. And now what they're doing is they're migrating that system to the EOS platform. And it says here, Tapatalk is now introducing the blockchain-enabled gold point wallet built on the EOS platform. Blockchain integration will enable gold points rewards by making micropayments more feasible for end users and eliminating transaction fees from external payment processors. And that is the reason for using blockchains, to escape the legacy fees and middleman that we've all been encumbered with. Visa, charges a fee every time you use it. Western Union charges fees. Banks charge fees. And that is the reason to use blockchains. And EOS does it to the superlative highest degree because it has free transactions. Once you have some EOS and you have an account, you are allotted a certain amount of free transactions. And so Tapatalk recognizes this, and what better way to make micropayments to its users than with a free transactional system? So this is going to be very exciting. This is one of those killer dApp moments amongst all these other apps that are moving over to the EOS platform, Tapatalk being one of the kings moving to EOS. So guys, I said it before, I'll say it again. EOS is my top pick for a cryptocurrency platform in 2019, I think in 2020 as well, for growth, because we are just getting started. All right, and let's move on to Juicy J. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Juicy J is a rap artist, mainstream, makes tons of album sales. This is not some small guy. And he just had a song recently, and in his song, he has a blackboard. Now keep in mind, this music video got 3 million views in the past week alone. And on the blackboard, I took a couple screenshots. You can see the letters EOS clearly and a bunch of, looks like C++ kind of code here. He has the word juicy here. Look at this, EOS IO token on a next frame. So it says EOS IO. If you're wondering if it was a coincidence that it says EOS, it's not, because we have EOS IO, we have IQ over here, and we have EOS IO token Everipedia. So Juicy J is subliminally injecting all its 3 million viewers with EOS on that blackboard. And I guess he may own some if he's that emphatic about EOS. He didn't put any other coins in his video, and he didn't talk about any other coins. It's just on the blackboard. I don't see any Bitcoin. I don't see any Ethereum. I don't see anything else. I see EOS, EOS IO, and Everipedia. So Juicy J is on board with that. And I'll put the link to his video in my description. It's a really good song. Recommend you watch it and just check out that Blackboard. Quite a funny video, actually. Let's click on it, actually. Let's just check it out here, just to show you what it looks like. I don't want to get a copyright strike, so I'm not going to play the audio. But as you can see, we'll just flip through it here. He pretends to be, Bill Gates, and he's creating a new company, and he's the CEO. And then as we go along, there's the Blackboard, and we get these images that I just showed you. And you can see here we have how many views? 2.96 million views. But again, it was released just a week ago, and that is going to go way above 3 million views. All right, so let's move to ENFEOS. ENFEOS, one of those two. It's the EOS IO universe in your hands. Essentially, it's the easiest and fastest, most straightforward way to develop EOS IO-based dApps on EOS. And we're not going to get into all this, but basically it allows you to test your smart contracts using JavaScript. So up until this point, you had to code and deploy and test maybe on the JungleNet test network, that kind of thing, see how it ran. But now we have a JavaScript-based testing system in ENFEOS to test your smart contracts. So this is going to be invaluable for bringing dApp development to the mainstream, to the masses, to make it easier to onboard new developers. So very excited for what ENFEOS has created here. Next up, pEOS. I still don't know how to say this. pEOS? I just sounds wrong. But anyways, private untraceable transactions on EOS. So P stands for private. And I think this is pretty cool. Essentially, the high-level overview is they have recreated a Monero-like privacy coin as a token on top of the EOS blockchain. So pEOS was airdropped to all token holders, all EOS token holders, about 15 days ago. And so if you held EOS about 15 days ago, you now hold pEOS. And if you look in your account, you'll probably see it just recently airdropped. I checked my account and I do see the pEOS tokens in my account. So let's take a few paragraphs. It says pEOS is a smart contract implementation of a privacy token based on the technology that powers the anonymous cryptocurrency Monero, which is capable of running on top of the EOS IO software. It allows private and untraceable transactions of its EOS-based token, pEOS, among EOS users. And so you may be wondering, well, what's the advantage of using something like pEOS over a Monero or Zcash? And it says here that independent specialized blockchains like Zcash and Monero have difficulties in getting support for atomic swaps by other blockchains due to blockchain interoperability issues. And this makes decentralized exchanges support improbable. So decentralized exchanges use atomic swaps, which is a direct exchange of tokens using a smart contract. And pEOS avoids these issues by building on top of EOS IO, which does have blockchain interoperability built as a core component of the EOS IO software. So pEOS is very exciting in that it offers additional functionality above and beyond what Zcash and Monero are offering. And let's just get into a little bit of how it works as well. Private tokens can be sent to EOS native accounts like any typical token on the EOS blockchain, but also to private addresses. External users are not able to witness payments to the receiver's public address. Sending pEOS tokens to a pEOS address does not generate a transaction that visibly identifies the sender, nor the recipient. Tokens are transferred each time at a new address that derives from the recipient's address and random data from the sender. So it covers up the transaction trail. Transactions in pEOS use ring signatures, which is the same technology that Monero uses, to hide inputs of transactions among inputs from other transactions. It is impossible to verify as a third party what inputs were really used in the transaction. Ring signatures allow for signing a message using several public keys and one private key, created initially as a whistleblower mechanism where the one that signs hides among other public keys he doesn't own the private key. In pEOS, we use ring signatures to hide the real spender of an input among n equal probable spenders. Woo, that's a mouthful. Basically, it hides your shit. So MEET.ONE is creating their own sidechain. And as such, on February 19th, that was just a week ago, they took a snapshot of all existing EOS account holders, and you are now a part of that snapshot. And basically that means you can obtain free sidechain accounts ending with a .m suffix on the end of the account name. And each sidechain account will receive 10 MEET.ONE tokens staked to CPU and net and 3.5 kilobytes of RAM for free. So I think actually whether we call this a sidechain or just a new blockchain entirely, it really is the same thing. It's a sister chain with the intention that MEET.ONE intends to link it to the main EOS mainnet eventually. And it looks like, here's the timeline of things. So again, the snapshot was on the 19th. On the 27th of February, it's officially activated. So that's in 2 more days. And you can then claim your MEET.ONE tokens via an airgrab ratio of 2 EOS to 1 MEET.ONE token. So if you have 100,000 EOS, you'll get 50,000 MEET.ONE tokens. It's very similar to the EOS Genesis EOS account in that you'll have some RAM and CPU staked, and you'll get a free account for being part of that snapshot. So let's see what MEET.ONE creates on their new sidechain. So Brendan Blumer is dropping hints, again, more hints about what is to come with their wallet. We're, I think, beyond eagerly awaiting the actual final result. But he says that after much consideration, we wanted to release the wallet in a way that empowered all existing EOSIO wallets. So this is interesting. It's not just going to be one wallet, some kind of solution that affects all EOSIO wallets, not even just EOS, Telos, Worbly, Wax, Boss, etc. This is going to be a solution that empowers them all, and it doesn't compete with them. And so they have arrived at a solution they're excited about. And he says that basically they began working with a leading hardware manufacturer to create the ability for all EOSIO wallets to secure their EOS-based assets with a degree of security higher than what's existed previously. And that's interesting, a leading hardware manufacturer. So are they working with Ledger? Are they working with Trezor? Something tells me it may be Ledger. Again, I have no idea, or maybe it's a new manufacturer. But the fact that it's a leading hardware manufacturer makes me think maybe, my guess is the new Ledger Nano X with Bluetooth support would enable a superior user experience and ease of use and security with all existing EOS wallets. So my guess is some kind of Ledger Nano X integration with EOS in a better way than is being seen currently. And again, we're waiting for that REX, which is in the 1.6 release candidate of EOS, and it will be here very soon. Found this awesome video showing how EOS REX works. Let's watch a few minutes.
So, how does EOS REX work? EOS REX is a system-level smart contract allowing EOS token holders to lend their tokens into a pool of lendable EOS. As EOS tokens are deposited, REX tokens are automatically minted by the smart contract at any amount necessary to maintain the current ratio of EOS to REX. In this example, a 1-to-1 ratio.
Show me that money. So basically it goes on to show how when the EOS gets rented out to other users, the pool of EOS gets increased. So when you withdraw your REX, you have a higher ratio and then you come out with more EOS tokens. I highly recommend you watch this video, check it out. I'll put the link in my description. And, we have a lot of negative news about, this account was hacked, these EOS funds were lost, all that. So here's some positive news for a change. EOS Authority shared this link with me, and I think it's fantastic. So it says this account returned 103,000 EOS that were accidentally transferred to it by a token holder. So there are amazing and honest people out there. Not everyone's a criminal out to get you. There are good people in the world. And if we look at the account, we can see that the account name was Australia123. So let's take a look at the transaction history. This is the receiving account of the erroneously sent EOS. And if you scroll down, we will see that 102,000 EOS were received here, January 31st, and then 500 more was sent. And then shortly after, we have a memo from the sending account and says, hey, I accidentally sent my EOS tokens to your account, but if you can return them ASAP, I'm happy for you to retain 5,000 EOS tokens. And he says, please get in touch, as this is our life savings. That's a lot of money, guys. And we are prepared to let you keep 5,000 EOS for your honesty and decency. So then Australia account says, is this some kind of scam? I'm happy to transfer them back, but I worry that this is some kind of scam or some kind of a hack. Can you explain what happens? And how did you accidentally transfer to my account without knowing it? And he says, it's not a scam. My account's from the Genesis block. I'm new to staking. I set up an account with a similar name, Australia444, from which you will see in my first transaction. And then I mistakenly sent to Australia123 account. And so right after that, you see that Australia123 must believe him and sends back the 97,000 EOS tokens minus the 5,000 that he's keeping as his personal reward. And he sends all these tokens back to the guy as well. So really nice to see someone decent out there doing the right thing. Some communication back and forth with the memos, with the free transactions on EOS. Just really nice to see. We need to see more of that. Less scamming, more honest decency. So Epic Games. I play Fortnite. I don't know if you guys know that. I find it a good way to pass the time sometimes when I'm not recording EOS videos. But Epic Games CEO does show some support for EOS on Twitter, believe it or not. So there was a debate about whether the EOS blockchain is growing at a speed that's too fast, and is it going to just be too burdensome to keep up with? And Epic Games CEO chimes in on this, and he says, so nodes have to buy a new $300 8 terabyte hard drive every 16 months? Why is this a problem? Usenet was growing 1 terabyte a day more than a decade ago. So Tim Sweeney of Epic obviously does not feel that there is any kind of a threat to EOS, and that scalability, Moore's law, will keep up with the size of the EOS blockchain. Not to mention that there are other solutions in the works. We do want to have full history solutions for the EOS blockchain, and that is being funded by the CVIB, the Cooperative Voting Infrastructure Bounty Program, of which my proxy and others are a part of. So again, please do vote for my proxy, Colin T Crypto, so that I can help ensure that things like the full history solution is created on the EOS blockchain for all block producers, as well as other needed features such as testing standby producers. And that's going to help create an easy way for us to keep track of the full history. Again, that's going to require a lot of storage space, but I really don't see it as being a problem. And here's why. Because some people do think that the size of the blockchain of EOS is going to be a problem. I think that, first of all, we have Moore's law on our side, but we don't want to count on that, right? Like, what if it stopped for some reason? Even though it hasn't in the past 50 years, let's say that it did. Okay, well, we have EOSIO being developed and constantly updated by block.one, and we haven't yet seen parallelization. We haven't yet seen a lot of blockchain interoperability. We haven't seen a lot of side chains, and we have VRAM and vCPU. We have a lot of solutions, and that's just what's on my radar right now. The real takeaway from what I see as far as this not being a problem is we are going to solve the problem. It's not going to be a problem because we have enough initiative to solve it. And basically what I see is that we are going to solve any hurdles that we come across. If we have, as we've seen, CPU being a bottleneck, we solve it. If RAM is a problem, then we solve it. If storage capacity is going to be a problem, we're going to solve it. That's what innovation is all about. And EOS is on the forefront. EOS is not trying to be the same as other blockchains. It's not stuck in the past. EOS is working with up-to-date modern hardware, up-to-date modern futuristic code, and it is innovating. So if the size of the blockchain ever does become a concern, we're just going to solve it as a problem. We're going to look at it, and block.one and all these really, really smart developers, far, far smarter than myself, will look at the storage capacity issue, and they'll do whatever it needs. Maybe they need to do sharding. Maybe they need to do something else. It will be taken care of. I have no doubt in my mind with the level of competence of people in charge of EOS. So yeah, just don't worry about the FUD. I mean, I think that we have great people on our side and it's not a problem whatsoever. All right. And there was an accounts blacklist issue where back in the days, ECAF had ruled that a 2 million EOS account should not be permitted to move funds. The order was that BPs should not let those funds move. However, there was a slip up, and games.eos, a new BP that got into the top 21, did not update their blacklist and allowed this transaction to go through. And the hacker tried to transfer those 2 million EOS to Huobi to liquidate them or convert them to other tokens. And Huobi did the right thing, froze those tokens, and stopped the thief from being able to take an enormous sum of EOS. And so now it's being looked into. Real props to Huobi for taking action and doing the right thing. Please give me a like while you're watching my video, guys. Please share it. Please subscribe. Please hit that bell icon so you can be notified videos in the future. And as usual, I really, really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting me. And as you can see, we have an endless stream of EOS news, and that is how I can keep bringing you these EOS Mega updates. I can't do this with just every blockchain out there. If I was looking at Bitcoin, I would not be able to do a Bitcoin Mega update because there just isn't that much news happening for Bitcoin. With EOS, it's a whole different story. Tons of weekly and bi-weekly news to bring you guys. And so I look forward to bringing you more EOS Mega updates as the news unfolds. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic day. Take care.